G.I.JOE is there.
You know what drives me crazy is that that little, it's like 5 seconds, that little intro clip we have, and it's just the logo
Yeah,
comes up and it plays the music. It
yeah.
never ever, like if you go and watch the video on YouTube later, it's choppy, it's weird. Like the first
Really?
couple seconds is always cut off.
Huh.
It's weird. I don't
Interesting.
I
Well,
have no
maybe
explanation.
add five seconds of dead space to it.
That's what I'm thinking, but like
We got to
I
pad
don't
our time. We got to stretch this out even further.
I don't remember how I made it.
Pad our time. We tend to talk.
We do tend to talk. We're not going to jump hard into this discussion until a couple people do get a chance to jump in.
Okay.
Just yeah, this is kind of an important one. This is kind of one of those things, like this was the purpose of the group and the channel in the first place. Is just helping people kind of get into the hobby. So I do want to
Yeah.
give folks a couple of seconds.
Okay.
And Black Friday's turned so weird now. It used to, no kidding, be Friday, which is what, the 29th.
Oh yeah.
But
Good
now
morning.
it's weeks. Now it's the whole month. So Black
Yeah.
Friday itself is a misnomer at this point. It's
Yeah.
very
People just
much
have forgotten the
changed.
true meaning of Black Friday.
putting enough money into the pockets of the company selling stuff that they go from the red to the black.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
mean, Black Friday. I remember we used to get up and we'd be at the store at 5 a.m. to get the
Really?
goodie bag. And I mean, if I don't get to elbow somebody in the face for a Cabbage Patch doll, it's just not worth it anymore.
Now you're just being silly. The only time I ever got up for a Black Friday sale was to go to a Toys R Us back in like late 90s, and this was when maybe after episode 1 or something. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, typically I try to not even leave the house on a Black Friday.
Yeah.
So,
I used
good morning,
to.
guys.
Good morning.
Morning, everybody. So I used to love it just for the craziness of it all. Never went out with the intention of buying anything. Like it wasn't like, oh, I need this TV or I need this PlayStation, but just to be out in the crowd and the craziness and all that. Yeah, it was fun.
I read a meme that sums it up for me right now. It's hey, we all got those big screen TVs. Can we put groceries on Black Friday?
Oh yes.
Hey guys, I know a handful of folks popped in. We're just we're stalling for time for just another minute or two. Give folks a chance to get on. Make sure that the stream is up. Are we up on in the Facebook group? I thought it would have automatically popped up.
You know what? Last time I don't think it showed up in the Facebook group. I think it was only YouTube.
I'll post a thing over there. Hold on.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So this will be kind of a fun little discussion. We're gonna end up covering, kind of like if you're starting out, kind of what do you need? Because that's a big part of it. Like if you're buying a resin printer and you think you're gonna just buy the resin printer and be good to go, you're wrong.
Okay.
So we'll discuss kind of some of the other stuff as well.
Just checking on some technical stuff. Mike, are you viewing Mark's screen? Is he coming in a little grainy?
Yeah, it's kind of fuzzy.
Uh-oh. That was unprofessional.
Yeah, you look fine, Artwann. My feed looks fine. Let me take a look and see what it looks like on the YouTubes. Yeah, you're fuzzy on the YouTubes too.
Yeah. My interwebs may be misbehaving ever so slightly.
Yeah, but you're right. Grocery discounts would, it's worth elbowing somebody for a turkey nowadays.
Right. I'd appreciate a little relief at the gas pump, a little relief at the grocery store.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, Tony confirms. It's a little blurry.
Yeah, I don't know how I would fix that. So, all
Yeah,
right.
when you first started, it was clear, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't.
Likely I've got 3 kids that are streaming like
Okay.
on their computer and their phone and the TV. There's probably like,
Yeah.
fortunately I think my wife's still asleep, so that's one less streaming device. So, although the down shouldn't really affect it. I don't know. Who knows? All right. Let's kind of get into it. So yeah, so I've pulled up a couple of sites that are like the manufacturer that sells the thing, whether it's Elegoo or Anycubic or Creality. So I've got a couple of those sites up. We'll kind of go through those. We'll pull up Amazon and look there. Amazon's easy because most people have an Amazon account and it takes care of. Don't tell me to get off AOL. I met my wife on AOL.
Good deal.
Yeah.
You've got wife.
Yeah. Man, that really that's sidetracked me. And most people have Amazon, and like shipping with Amazon's pretty easy and everything, and you can get things quick. So
Yes,
we'll
sir.
kind of look through there as well. So let me pull this up. Oh, wait, before we get into Black Friday, so here's the kind of roadmap for the next couple of episodes of the G.I. Joe 3D printing podcast. So we got of course Black Friday, December 1st. We're gonna have the Kukovich brothers on. They've got a little business they're doing called Couple of Kooks. And so I saw them at AR and they had some really great looking action figure customs. And so we're going to get them on to talk about that. December 15th. Oh, these I guess are out of order now. December 15th, we'll be doing a live stream of a build for a part of the Project Scorpion Desert Patrol Vehicle project that Mike's heading up.
Yep.
So that'll be effectively a Fusion 360 demo. And then back in time to the 8th, we'll have Craft and Conquer on. That's David Marquin, who's a member of the G.I. Joe 3D printing group. So he was at AR also. He had the table next to me, and he had these amazing like Dino Rider, like 3 3/4 or 1/18 scale Dino Rider things he was doing. And he was doing some vehicles for G.I. Joe as well. And it's all awesome.
Sweet.
Yeah, so that's the plan. So we're kind of packing up Sundays for the foreseeable future. Artwann, Mike and I all have Sunday morning afternoonishes available. So we're going to kind of push and try and kind of pick up the pace because we've been slacking with the podcast for a while.
Yeah,
summertime gets busy. Summertime is pretty, bunch of cons. Everybody's traveling, so we're back on it.
Let's see if I can do it. I try to want to maximize the screen if I can. Okay. Okay. So this is Elegoo. I'm starting here because I'm an Elegoo dude. The first resin machine I ever got was an Anycubic, and it was fine. I got a deal on a Elegoo Mars, and kind of just stuck with Elegoo since then. Nothing wrong with Anycubic. I just I don't know. I've got dumb brand loyalty like an idiot.
Yeah, I think in general, one comment I want to make, Mark, is when you're looking at a 3D printer, don't look just for cheap. There are a lot of really bad vendors out there that make a cheap 3D printer, and you're gonna regret it. Now's the time to look for a reputable brand at a good price, rather than just trying to go with a cheap one that fits your budget, but you're really going to be regretting it. There are some terrible ones out there.
And I'll add, there's a phenomenon where Black Fridays are coming. Let's jack up the prices. So when we put it at 45% off, it's still kind of the regular price.
Yeah.
Or maybe just a little bit off. Like that's that's kind of a standard business practice for a lot of companies, and it doesn't mean don't buy their machine. It depends, right? So, like Mike's saying, get the get the right thing for you, and just because the sales department is doing some shady shit doesn't mean that the machine is not good. Those two things don't equate to each
They
other.
don't correlate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. So Elegoo, I want that thing away. All right. So Elegoo, they make FDM, and they're kind of calling it LCD now. We've kind of talked about this before. If it's easier to just call it a resin printer because they keep kind of wiggling the names around. Like SLA is supposed to be lasers, DLP is supposed to be digital light processing, is an LCD screen above a UV bulb or LED array or something, and there's a bunch of different names floating around now, so we'll just call it resin. I have not played with any of the FDM stuff that Elegoo has. Mike and or Artwann, have you talked to anyone that's got a Neptune or any of those?
No,
No.
I've never gotten any reports on people using Neptunes.
And it's interesting because there's trends, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people picked up the Creality.
Yeah.
Is it the 3? Is that what you got, Mike?
Ender.
Ender.
Yeah, I have
Yeah, the Ender. The
3
Creality.
Yep.
V2. That is a huge. I mean, to me, that's kind of the workhorse.
Right. Well, Nicotronic says he's got an Elegoo Mars and a Neptune 3 Pro.
Yep,
I'd be curious to know from Nico, like, hey, how's that Neptune 3? Because I've never actually heard anybody using them. So
I've
crazy.
never. Yeah, they're the first. Nicotronics, you're the first one I know of that's using a Neptune. And is it just because Elegoo kind of got known for doing resin machines and kind of Creality? Like
That's what I think. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Crealities are like you can go to a like a brick and mortar place like a Micro Center, and they will have pallets of those Ender 3s.
Yeah.
So it's just because they got them out there. I think there's just, like I was saying before, with like it's just kind of brand recognition. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with the Neptunes. And yeah, so you love your Neptune 3. Awesome.
And then Clemens, I will take you up on that offer. I love jambalaya. I'll help you out.
I saw that too, Artwann. So we just need to set up a time and date for that because
right.
Yeah, I could go for some jambalaya too.
Yeah. And so another thing to think about with FDM, I think the filament you're using has a lot to do with it. None of the technology in these machines is real
It's
advanced.
not all that difficult.
Yeah, it's not. It's and where you'll start seeing these price increases is when you've got auto leveling. You've got like the magnetic plate, so you can peel the bed off and easily kind of bend it. Like there's going to be little conveniences that drive the price up, but ultimately, like the hot end, the extruder, the stepper motors, it's all kind of the same stuff.
Yeah, one of the biggest differences that you're going to see in an FDM is if it's direct drive.
Direct drive, yep.
Direct drive means that your motor for driving your filament is right at the hot end, as opposed to much farther back, closer to the spool. And you get much better precision if you have a direct drive.
I'd also say if you're trying to print with
TPU,
thank you, something that's got some like a rubbery flex to it. If you don't have direct drive, that print, it's just not going to work. Because trying to push something soft and rubbery through those Teflon tubes or whatever, it just doesn't work very well versus pulling it with the direct drive.
Yeah, I'm a PLA Plus guy now. That's what I mostly use on my FDMs. Yeah, that's kind of what's happening right now.
So looking at this, it's a bunch of save 24, save 25, save 30% on the Neptunes. You'd have to kind of go into the actual product description on all of these. I think it's interesting when they've got like how many stars. I really kind of don't trust that stuff too much because it's too easy for everyone to just kind of manipulate, you know. Um, so I don't put a lot of stock into how many 5-star reviews something has. Um,
Yeah,
but looking at this, the numbers are so low on all of these that it's weird that they would even put that in the advert.
yeah, that's a little strange.
The Neptune 4 has got 17 5-star reviews. That's a little weird.
Yeah.
Like, why bother telling us? So I don't know. And I'm not saying that means anything. I just think that's odd.
Well, I'm very curious. Like I said, Nicotron is, whenever you want to hit me up, I want talk to me about the Neptunes because I just haven't heard anybody using them. So I want to know how are they clicking? How are they dialed in?
Yeah. And so we're going to kind of use this first screen as kind of the baseline, right? So we're looking at the Neptunes, and they're what's the cheapest one is the Neptune 4 at $180. The most expensive one, Neptune 4 Max at $350. All kind of standardy down the middle. Like the looks like the larger it is, the more expensive it is, which is you're going to find that everywhere. None of these have enclosures. They're all single filament machines, meaning they're not going to swap colors for you on the fly, anything like that. So they're not in a negative way, but I'm saying they're kind of basic printers. Does that make sense? Kind of like your Ender 3. They're kind of right in line with that.
Yeah, yeah, and it's all in what you want. They're definitely like the Ender 3 is a good workhorse, and a basic machine like this is a good workhorse. But just know you're probably not going to get it out of the box and start printing in 15 minutes.
So let's ask Nicotronis that. So like I had gotten, my wife and I have their Creality CR10 V3s. We got them out of the box and we had them up, and within 30 minutes we were able to start printing. They went together quick and easy, no problem. Similarly, my wife had bought an FT5 years and years ago, and nothing was assembled. It was bags of screws, bags of bearings, bags of wires and shit. And like it took her weeks to assemble that goddamn thing. Like she had to solder every single wire. It was cheap. And it's a big machine, good machine, but I mean, it was a project to assemble.
Wow.
But so we had bought we wanted another printer when we were still just running the CR10, and we got an Ender 3, and it really pissed us off putting it together. So we returned it.
Okay, was it the V2?
I don't recall.
Because my V2, it was bags of screws, and it really had to be put together. And if I remember, the most frustrating part about it, and they walk you through it, but the most frustrating part about it was you had to adjust the location of the Z sensor, which is your up-down sensor, and that was a pain in the butt to dial it in.
Okay, I've never had those issues. That's interesting.
Okay.
Nicotronis says 30 minutes.
I have the originals. Yeah.
Okay. Now, what's interesting, and I did not realize this, but I'm on the Micro Center website, and in regards to the Ender, they are actually at the V3, the Ender 3 V3, and it's a completely different looking machine than than the V2. Have you seen this thing, Artwann?
No.
Yeah.
I'm going now to check it out.
Yeah, we'll take a look at it in a bit, but check it out.
Are you guys able to share your screens?
Yeah, I can share it.
Yeah, share it, and we'll just pull it up.
Okay.
But we're kind of talking over each other a bit. Nicotronis did confirm with his Neptune, he was up and running in 30 minutes. So it sounds like easy assembly on these things.
Nice.
Okay, so I've got my screen shared.
Okay,
so
there we go.
This is the Ender 3 V3. special edition, whatever. And I'm not sure what's so special about the special edition, but it's got a fairly large. It's got a good sized build plate, 220 by 220. But this is what's surprising me. I mean, automatic bed leveling. That looks like a direct drive head.
Yep.
So they've really updated for the V3 and at a price point of $169.99.
170 is wow.
Yeah.
So one thing, and I don't know, a lot of people have micro centers. I know we have a couple here.
I would argue that's not true. There's not that many micro centers left.
Right. I know in Atlanta there are 2. There are a couple other places. I don't know how common they are, but to understand why Micro Center sells 3D printers so cheap is it's the razor and the blade philosophy. Micro Center makes their own brand of filament called Inland. And if you go to a store, every single color and variety of filament you could imagine is there in the store. So what they want to do is they want to get you hooked. They sell 3D printers at incredibly low cost so that you're buying the filament from them.
Which isn't, it's not bad filament and it's not overly expensive. But
Correct.
Yeah, like Micro Center, it's kind of like your like a brick and mortar toy store. There's just not that many of them around anymore.
Yeah.
And so and there's people that prefer to shop that way.
Right.
You know, like I would rather go in and physically look at the stuff and
yeah.
So Duluth, huh? So I was going to say, if you pull that down, you might be able to just see where they are.
Yeah.
Let's get a little off topic. I know I've got one here in Denver.
You got one in Denver, Miami, Duluth.
When I lived up in Maryland, not far from DC. Yeah, there was Rockville, Maryland, and then there was I think there's another one up there.
A
Maryland.
couple in New York. Yeah, they probably have maybe 40, 50 stores around.
Yeah.
But
there are nothing here in Washington.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a tech dream to walk in that store. I mean, you can just wander around for hours saying, I can't afford that. I can't afford that.
Well, similarly, if you're like me, I'm a guy, like when I need a new PC, I like to build it myself.
Right.
And I'll there's a thing called PC Part Picker. You can go on and kind of virtually build your machine, and that website will also tell you right now, here's where the cheapest thing, here's where you can get that part the cheapest. And you can go so far as to bring up like a graph, and it'll show you like Newegg, Tiger Direct, Micro Center, Amazon. It'll show the prices over time, so you can see if you're actually buying it on the low end or if it bounced up in cost or something. Yeah, that's the
pretty
best.
Cool.
Okay.
But yeah, Micro Center, man, I just love that place.
Yeah. Which actually raises an interesting point, Mark, where you were saying a website that can combine prices. We were talking about Amazon. There is a website called Camel. It's just camels 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
And you drop in a link from Amazon and it will show you what that price has done over time.
Oh, man.
See a price that you're like, hey, I wonder is this a good price on Amazon? Let me bring that up.
Yeah, bring that up because we can just start dropping this stuff into it.
Yeah, and hopefully this isn't going to be the other Camel website. There we go. Yeah, so this is Camel. And let's find I'm going to run over to Amazon real quick and look up the Ender 3.
Okay.
Or
pretty specific. Man, you look at a lot of toys on Amazon, Mike.
Yeah. Gee, who would have thought?
So, no, mine's exactly the same.
Yeah, ignore the rash cream. It's all about toys. Okay, so basically, you would take you drop the website in from Amazon.
Link,
This shows the exact same thing, and then you see, okay, so it's been as high as 229. It's down to 173.60. You can see the low points that it's hit. So right now that Ender 3 is as low as it's ever been.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
And you can see if is it actually sold by Amazon? Is it third party? What's the highest ever current?
So also 173. What was it on Micro Center?
169.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
So, but
so
I mean, yeah, I mean, if that's another thing. Like, you don't necessarily, if you're nickel and diming, like kind of relax a little bit. Like you know.
yeah, I am curious if you can just search. What would be a
So yeah. So real specifically, let me pull this up again. So, oh, God damn it. This thing right here, the Mercury Plus V2. I have the Mercury, the original one, and I swear
okay?
to God, I paid $80 for it on Amazon
Oh, okay.
4 or 5 years ago.
All
So
right.
do Mercury,
So,
see if you can do the Mercury Plus V2, and we'll see if in fact it's usually $80 or if in fact it rolls for a 120 whatever.
Okay. So here we go. Here's an Elegoo Mercury Plus, and it looks like you don't
Hold on,
have
I
you
got
can
it.
drop in the exact Amazon website, or it looks like it will also allow you to just do a search.
Okay,
mhm.
So yeah, so right now it looks like it's hanging around. Looks like the lowest price that's been offered there was $94.95, but it's
okay,
been as high as $169.99.
okay,
And then of course there could be different sellers,
yeah,
because I think when I did the search, there's a couple here. So let's see, best price, not in stock, 94. Yeah, so it looks like they were selling it at 94 at some point, according to this website. But it's a good deal.
yeah,
So according to what it says.
excellent.
But yeah,
Gotcha.
so Camel is the name of the site that I'm using. Oh, and it takes you right
Yeah,
to
for like the folks who tuned in to watch and see kind of what we talk about 3D printer wise, like this is one of those wow Mike moments.
Yeah,
The
he
most
came up with
valuable
another one.
thing people are taking
Yep.
away from this stream is camel, camel, camel. That's okay. Ugh. I
Okay,
don't have
so
this is what the Techno Viper head was telling Artwann and I about.
so this
Oh,
is
wow.
interesting, Mark, that was the lowest price new. There was actually a used price that was even lower. It looks like you could have gotten this used for as low as 65 at some
Yeah,
point.
amazing.
There we
All right.
go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Camel, camel, camel.
Camel,
Oh my
camel,
God.
camel.
All right, I'm switching back over.
Okay.
All right. So we talked about uh the Neptunes, and we'll come down, we'll kind of talk. So this is kind of different. Obviously there's a laser engraver here, there's that Neptune. If you are doing, if you do decide to go resin because you want to do figure accessories, whether it's guns or secondaries or heads, things that you really kind of need to have a much finer resolution on your final print, so you go resin, you will have to post process those prints using some type of alcohol, whether it's IPA or like isopropyl alcohol or denatured alcohol, which is what I prefer. And uh, you don't need a wash and cure station, but yes, you do. You could just get a bucket and pour alcohol into it and swish your stuff around. But seriously, a wash and cure station makes life better. It's just so much easier to have.
More convenient, a little bit more like clean in a
Oh
sense.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Uh,
It's set up. It's set up to do exactly what you're buying it to do, versus having a bucket.
yeah. And so, for people who ask the question, like, should I start with, a filament printer or, a resin printer? It always depends. The first thing we're going to say is, what are you trying to print? And so, just like Mark said, if you're trying to do like heads for your 6-inch Joes or figures or weapons and things like that, even web gear and stuff like that, then you'll probably want a resin printer. The pros are really fine detail, but the cons, we do want to talk about those a bit. And I know Techno Viper here has some issues with the cons. So, what do you
Yep.
think the cons are, Techno Viper?
For resin,
Yes.
to me, it's the fragility. Well, first off, it's the overall chemical mess of resin, because like Mark was describing, you have to clean. You end up, you're dealing with a chemical resin. You're dealing with chemical cleaners. You really have to have a good space for it. Whereas for FDM, I mean, I have my machine sitting right next to me. You might even be able to hear it, but I mean, I'm literally next to it while it's printing.
I can hear
There's
it
no
right there.
smell. There's no artifacts. There's nothing. It'll probably give me cancer in 20 years, but we don't know that yet. Hey, I'm just going to say.
Well, my guess for the resin printers is cancer in 10, so it still beats that.
Okay, well that's good. That's good. Yeah. So yeah, I like that. The filaments are definitely the FDMs are definitely easier maintenance, easier to just deal with. But also, resin prints can give you very fine details, but to me, they're also very fragile. In that, one of the things you're dealing with any kind of 3D print or any kind of plastic in general is going to be called shear force. It's what angle can you apply force to an item in which it's going to break or in which it's not going to break. So with me, from what I've seen with filament, if you're making something long like a gun, you are going to have shear force in the exact places that you don't want it to be, like the stock. If you print a rifle, the stock of that rifle, if you tried to, put it under the arm of a figure, the shear force is going to cause the stock to break off. In my experience, obviously you can add some different materials to your resin, make it a little bit more flexible. Now, whereas with FDM, if you print, as long as you orient it with where you want the strength to be what you're printing flat, it's because it's printing the plastic in a string rather than as a layer. It is very strong. Like this. That I printed in FDM and I broke it. So, but it's a lot tougher than what I would see from what I've seen with resin. And this wasn't even let's see. Oh yeah, so this was hollow. So this wasn't even a solid piece. That's why it broke. But that's because I printed it with the head printing down so that it printed the layer in this direction. But at the same time, I would love to do resin because all the stuff that I print is so small that I do lose a lot of detail. But it's just I haven't been able to take that plunge into the resin.
And my counter to that would kind of be, certainly when I started, the resins that were on the market were definitely brittle, and if you dropped them onto tile or concrete, they would break like glass, and there was no putting them back together. It was like glass. But yep. Now, yeah, and the additives, if you can get the out for a long time, I was on Elegoo ABS Light Gray, and then I would add this stuff called Tenacious from Storytech, which is really expensive, and that kind of rubberizes it, gives it some flex, which it gives it strength. Okay. And I did that for a long time, and now I'm onto this stuff called TH72, and it is magical. It is really good. Okay. It's really good. I would still say it is not the same as an injection molded piece of ABS or whatever PVC. It is still not as strong as injection molded plastic. And we'll see what happens as technology continues to improve. But yeah, I think resins have come a long way. But it's still gross. It's still going to make a huge mess. It's still going to have fumes that you don't want in your house. You don't want your kids breathing that stuff. Yeah, there are absolute drawbacks to resin.
Okay.
So after you did your cool, I'm going to snap the plastic thing, I figured out like, hey, we should probably make Mike's window bigger.
Another.
Let me see if I can break it again. Yeah,
That's
is
pretty strong. Yeah.
because it's a shorter piece and I don't have
Yeah.
as much of a moment on it. It's
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
it bent, but it didn't break. But I think that just in 3D printing in general, I think the best thing to know for what any type of 3D printing is, even though it looks like plastic, nothing that you 3D print will ever be as strong as injection molded, which is what the toy companies make.
Right.
Of course, toy companies spend, anywhere from 50 to 100 to $500,000 to make the tools that are required for the injection molding.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. 3D printing is wonderful for making small amounts of items or items that you do not expect to be robust, but at this point it's still not the point where you're going to get something that's equivalent to something that's manufactured, that's actually produced.
Yeah. With FDM and resin printing both, you're gonna have layer lines. You're going to have layer lines. You absolutely still get layer lines with resin printing. They're just, especially if you're old like me, with the naked eye, you usually can't even see them. But I guarantee they're there.
And
easier
there's
to
always
clean up.
but there's lots of techniques nowadays for paints and things that serve as fillers, and there's definitely a lot of people sand, a lot of people smooth. There's definitely some paints that are designed that are thicker paints that are going to fill in the lines for you. So you do get to a point where it looks incredibly smooth, depending on how much work you want to put into it.
Right. That's kind of like expert level, but like for someone who, just simply I'm trying to get started, when you get that first print and it looks like what you actually wanted to print, it's just a great feeling.
Yes.
All right. Here we go.
And eventually you start making things like this.
How tiny that is.
Good old chunky tank kitty.
So we kind of paused here so I could talk about the wash and cure stations. We talked about camel. These are the Elegoo ones, and Anycubic definitely has an absolutely comparable set of wash and cure stations. We'll kind of talk to them later. They're doing a lot of these bundle things on here.
Right. Which this is kind of a good point though. People going into resin printing, a washing station, you're probably going to need a nice like paint mask or something for
A respirator.
Respirator.
Yeah.
Rubber gloves. There's some stuff that you just kind of don't realize. Like you might get the printer, then you get the resin, but there's a lot of other little things that you need.
Yeah. Now most of them, every resin machine I've bought, and I've owned 7.
Yeah.
And they come with a couple of rubber gloves that aren't going to last you very long. They come with a like a rubber, or not rubber, but like a hard plastic like spatula to help you kind of pop the print off the build plate. They're gonna, they come with some clippers. But there's definitely some external costs that you're gonna have to think about. And these bundles are pretty cool because they come with a little resin. Here, this Mars 5 one over here has the wash and cure station. It's got the Mars 5, and that's a good price too. So, although resin prices just keep coming up.
Yes.
I really wanted to bring up like just their. Here we go. So Mercury Plus. That's a good price for that thing. The Saturn 4, again, like I had the first Saturn. I had 2 of them. Great machines. If you're trying to do something a little bigger, or you're starting to do a little bit of volume, but honestly, if you're starting, spend $130 and get a little machine. No, you're not going to be printing, vehicles on there. But again, if you're trying to do web gear or guns or heads or anything like that, you can just get a little machine and it's going to work great for you. Then if you are starting, if you're, I'm going to get an Etsy store and you're going to do some volume, I would say skip over your Saturns and go straight to like a Jupiter. And I don't know if there's even going to be one here. They have them. Let me see if I can figure out where they're hiding that.
Well, what's crazy is we started printing back when the resolution was like 2K and things like that. Like now, the smaller machines have what 8K starting.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, I have this one. I have the Jupiter, and it is a big boy. It is large. Since then, the Jupiter SE has come out. I think it's like a hair smaller. But it's got some cool features on it. Look at like 470 for a pre-owned one. That's jump on that. That's awesome. Like, I'm sure that they've made sure it works before they're putting it up on the site to sell. This is even a good price. Now this guy down here, yeah, like when it came out, it was $1,200. I think I got mine for $9. These are really good prices for what these machines can do and how big they are. So, just my 2 cents on the Jupiter. Oh,
And now,
shoot! Let me see if I can actually.
The Jupiter.
Say again.
Are you still rocking and rolling on the Jupiter?
Oh yeah, it is. It runs most of the time. Like it's not running if like it finishes a print while I'm in bed. But otherwise, I just have that thing running. It is an absolute workhorse for me. But so the PFA film. So that's your FEP. It's this clear plastic that sits at the bottom of the vat that the resin sits in, so that it keeps the resin from making contact with the LCD screen, but allows the UV light to come through. So it gets stretched out. It's a pain in the ass, but like over time, it's going to get worn down. And if a hole gets punched in that stuff and resin leaks through and hits that LCD screen and cures, you're buying a new LCD screen. So FEP's kind of important, but 57 bucks for 5 pieces. It's a little pricey. Hopefully you don't have to change it that often. They've got these air purifiers that go inside. I think they're, it's just a little charcoal thing. Okay. I think it's virtually worthless. The when these things cure, they put off some fumes. You can smell it. But I would argue that the alcohol you use to clean, like once it starts breaking down that resin and it starts getting nasty, that's the stuff that smells bad.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that's really just not good. So, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and jump off of the Elegoo page, and we'll go over to Anycubic, and let's see if that worked. Of course not. So I'm gonna have to.
So, people who've known me for a while, especially like Mark, knows that I had a horror story with my Elegoo that's still sitting. It's like a monument to like frustration with printing. So I had better luck with Anycubic, but that doesn't mean that Elegoo is bad at all. Like I'd buy another Elegoo in a heartbeat. But my first one was an Elegoo, and it was so frustrating. So like, you will have some of those moments, at some point in your printing journey. Maybe you don't, and you're lucky, but you'll have a machine that just, for the life of you, won't dial in. And that was my Elegoo.
Yeah, one thing for me, with the Jupiter, like when you level the plate, like that should kind of be it. But like to pull the prints off, you have to completely remove the plate and put it back on. And over time, the plate can become not level, and
Yeah.
we're talking tenths, maybe tenths of a millimeter off, and that's enough to screw up some prints, man. So I didn't want to believe. I went through a little period where I was just having a bunch of fails, and I couldn't bring myself to believe that the plate wasn't level because it seemed fine. Like it should have worked, but sometimes you just gotta kind of go back to step one and re-level some stuff.
Recalibrate. Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, this is the Anycubic site. This is the Anycubic Photon Mono X 6K. So another thing to think about when it's 4K, it's 6K, it's 10K. 4K on a build plate that's only this big is way different than 4K on a build plate that's this big. Right? So like my Jupiter is like, I want to say it's like 6K or something, but it's still like a slightly less resolution than my Saturn was. Because it's so many pixels, we'll call them, but
so it's 4K total pixels spread out
on a bigger plate. Yeah.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And it's still like, to the naked eye, you really almost can't tell the difference. You know what I mean? Anyway, this is a really good deal.
Yes, it is.
Oh,
this is a really good deal. This is $200 for a kind of comparable to the Saturn. It's a good sized machine, kind of top of the line. Yeah, if you are looking to get into resin, this is a pretty good deal right here.
It's not a bad choice. I think I'd moved from my Elegoo to the Mono X, the original Mono X, and I loved it. And this one, and the original Mono X was 4K, so this one has 6K, and probably a couple little tweaks as far as innovation is concerned.
Yeah. And yeah, I talked earlier, like they'll add some little things to kind of bring the price up, like upgraded light turbo matrix. What are we talking about? Like
Yeah,
they're
I
just
don't know.
kind of, air pure washing. Yeah. So and that's, I like how on their site, like here's the link to buy more film. Here's the, it's kind of got the links for stuff you'd have to get for that specific machine right there on the page for the machine. This is an important thing, LCD screen. So the LCD screens that only have so many hours on them, they will eventually burn out. You will eventually have to replace your LCD screen. And like if the LCD screen's $150, you only paid $200 for the printer. When that screen burns out, it might just be easier to buy a new printer.
Yeah.
If it's that price, yeah.
If it's
exactly.
if it's that kind of cost, right? 'Cause like even me printing, not 24/7, but like putting some hours on the machine, like I do, like I haven't burned out my LCD yet.
That's awesome.
And I've had it. Yeah, like and I'm talking on the Jupiter. Like I've replaced on the Mars machines. I probably replaced 3. I think I replaced all the LCD screens on those. I've replaced them on Saturn, which wasn't the best. And this is, again, we're going back 4 years or so, and they've kind of these companies learn from their mistakes. Like the Saturn had, during the course of its run, 3 different motherboards, and depending on the motherboard you had, it dictated like what screen you had to buy, and like you had to take the machine apart to figure out which motherboard was inside the printer. Like it was a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty confident they're not making that mistake anymore. I think they know if they're changing an internal part, they'll just wait until the next round of that machine, the next version. Oh, come on now. That's not what I wanted to do.
So, yeah, honestly, at that price and that size with that resolution, if you're trying to get into resin printing, this is something to jump on.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. So here's like the new machines. So yeah, they're going to be a little more expensive. Yeah, the fan favorite. So there it is, the Mono X 6K. Like, yeah, that's that is a great buy for a starting machine. Hey, Mike, would you mind
Yeah.
putting that into camel, 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 and
Yeah.
we'll look at what the price has done over time?
Yep. I was just about to do that.
Awesome. And I want to find their washing. Here we go. And then here's the washing cure stations for Anycubic, and kind of comparable to the Elegoo stuff. It's doing the same things, right? They're gonna have. Um, I'll pull this one up because it's easy to see. So it's got this one cool feature that I'll mention in a second. So it's got LEDs. So what'll happen is like these will be one frequency of light, and these will be another frequency of light.
Wait, hold on.
And one's going to be a little more green than the other, but they're still, they're just UV LEDs that are going to cure the resin. Go ahead.
No, I don't know if I see the washing station on the screen. I still show the photon.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. Give me 1 second.
Okay. So in the meantime, Camel says that the lowest price that this has been on Amazon was $239.99.
Cool. So it legit on sale.
About $40. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Let me see if I can put us in a different spot so people can see. And it's kind of fuzzy. Cool. So, and again, this is the Mono X 6K we were talking about.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's legit on sale. It's not just like a made up thing. I need to bring back.
There we go.
All right. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I was trying to show this before. So it's got at least UV LEDs in here, and they're going to have, one's going to be you'll visibly be able to see one is a slightly different color than the other, and it just gives you a variation in light frequency, so that should be more effective against different types of resin. That's all that boils down to. But it has, I wonder if they really are doing themselves a disservice here by not having a good picture of. So here's the washing part. And all this is at the bottom on the base, there's going to be a spinning part that's got a magnet in it. And inside that tub, there's like a disc inside that also has magnets. So as the base spins, it'll spin the disc inside the wash and cure station, causing the alcohol to spin around your print. And it's got a basket.
Okay.
So you'll lower your print in a basket into the machine. What I'm trying to point out though is it's got this arm. So this is a USB stick that plugs into a USB port, and then you can bend and position this extra UV light down below or at a weird angle. If you've got like a statue of an angel or something, and the wings are preventing light from getting to a certain spot, you can angle this other piece to kind of get into some different cracks and crevices.
That's pretty cool.
While it turns.
Okay.
So that's kind of a cool little feature. There's a bunch of there's some wash and cure stations I've seen that have it's built so that you take the build plate directly off your printer and attach it inside the machine, so that it washes the print while it's still attached to the build plate.
Yeah.
And it sounds appealing. It sounds like that's a good idea. I don't know that it's a good idea to be messing with your build plate that much. Like I said before, like if that thing gets unlevel, you're gonna just start getting failed prints. So the more you mess with it, the more I think you're kind of flirting with that happening. I'm pretty sure we have some pictures of what that stuff looks like coming up. But also, like once you do that, and when you pop the print off of the build plate, that wash and cure, the alcohol isn't getting in there. You're still going to have to wash it again.
Right.
I don't recommend those. I think the more support stuff you can remove before you wash, the better off you're going to be. Period. and if it's still attached to the plate, chances are you're not removing any of the support material first. It's just too much of a So this is a nice machine. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
So I'm a little confused with this. Are you doing both your chemical wash and your UV cure in the
Yes.
same machine?
Same machine,
but not at the same time.
right?
So you do you do the wash first.
Yep.
Or do you cure it first?
No, you wash it first.
Yeah, you do your wash first.
That's a lot of. Is that one of you guys?
That was me. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
A video started on. I'm on the Anycubic. Okay. So here's a video of the Anycubic. Ah, I see.
Yeah, you do your wash first,
off of it, and then
exactly
you hit it with UV. So basically, what they're showing in the picture is wrong. You're never going to be using UV and
the alcohol at the same time.
And the cover at the same time.
No.
I mean, you could, but not if you've got that snake arm like at some weird angle.
Right.
Yeah, if the print fits inside it, you know, like there's nothing stopping you. There's nothing harmful about having the top on it or off of it. Yeah. All right. So I'm, and I apologize for this, everybody. I don't usually jump around from different tabs on a web thing, but I need to like remove it and then bring up the next one separately. Yeah. So we've talked Elegoo and Anycubic. We're gonna go over to so this is kind of like a weird one that I was just, over the last couple days I've been anytime like a Black Friday sale on a 3D printer thing comes up, I click on it on Facebook. So I end up getting hit with all kinds of ads and stuff. So this is one that came up, and I'm just not familiar with it. So I figured we could talk about that. There we go. So this is Uniformation. I know nothing about these machines, and it looks like they're very much going for a Elegoo look, and I base that on the LCD screen down here. Mm-hmm. But these machines are really expensive. Like I'm like $1,300 for this thing. Like, and it's not that big. So I'm curious if it's just like this is a cash grab brand, or if they're genuinely somehow awesome.
Uniformation.
Yeah, I don't know anything about these, and it's like it looks like they've got some like proprietary resin that I'm clicking on and nothing's happening. Did it bring me over to the next screen? Yes. So here's a clearance one. It's like not letting me click on it. Yeah, but so like, oh, it's a pre-order. You know what? I'm gonna read up on these a little bit because I don't understand what's happening with these machines. I don't know what's special about them to make them cost as much.
Yeah.
I mean, even if they're SLA, like where it's using a laser to draw the layer like a Form 2, Form 3, Form 4. Mm-hmm. Like it's still a little on the pricey side.
Yeah, I'm on a Reddit site where they're talking about it. I'm not quite sure what the result was.
Yeah, I mean, it was just and primarily I think Facebook's a culprit. It's been pushing this Black Friday sale to me hard.
Yeah, apparently it's a very Chinese company, and they're a lot of people never got their orders.
Oh, wow.
It took incredibly long. So it sounds like the Temu of this is what was going on a year ago, and it doesn't sound like they're really legit.
All right. So Uniformation, I think we're officially saying stay away from it.
Yeah.
All right. So what's up? That's Elegoo again. Creality. Here we go. 1 second. Yes, we're up. Cool. So what I like about a lot of the stuff on here is the printers are enclosed, which it's going to keep kind of dust and stuff from on there. Like I've got a golden retriever, and if we do a 3D print upstairs where he lives, like chances are that print is going to include some dog hair. So this is a thing that can kind of help with that, is having the enclosure. But the other thing it does is it helps control the temperature for the print, which can just help prevent failures. Yeah. And it depending on the type of filament you're using, that can be a big deal or not. Yeah, they've got scanners, they've got laser engravers. Any thoughts on any of this stuff, guys?
I saw the V3 right there.
This guy.
So it looks like you can get it right next to it. Sorry,
go to the right.
SE.
Yeah, that's the one that they were selling at Micro Center as well for the same price.
Yeah. So again, good deal, good starting machine.
No experience with the V3. That's all new to me.
Right.
But it looks like, if they based it off of the V2, plus it looks like it's got some extra enhancements. Looks like it has direct drive. Looks like it has auto leveling.
Yeah.
If they come through, that is not a bad price.
Yeah.
User interface. Auto filament loading and unloading. That's nice.
Oh, that's nice.
That's not the I wish there was scale to this, because obviously that's TPU tires. You can clearly see some layer line stuff happening, which it just happens,
Yeah.
Like that's how these things are going to print. But like, I don't know if I would have used this picture as an ad for.
Yeah, I think they're trying to use that to show that it can do TPU.
That it can do TPU. Yeah.
Because I would not do TPU on my ender, because the drive is just way too far away from the head.
I've done it, and it wasn't bad. I've done tank treads.
Okay.
And not too bad. So just you get it dialed in. You can do a decent job.
Whoa. Okay, so on the actual Creality.com site, every day, I guess they have different sales every day during the Black Friday month. Look at this stuff. 330 down from 800 for the CR10 Smart Pro 3D. And then again, the CR10s, like I really like the CR10, and this is a big machine.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the build size on that?
It should be 300 by 300 by like 4 something. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, the CR10s are big. Yeah, 300 by 300 by 400.
Jeez.
Yeah. So if what you're interested in is doing mid-sized vehicles, think so this was the ferret I did before they did their ferret, kind of based more on the scale of the original, right? So you can kind of just for scale, you can see.
Okay.
If you want to print something this size, this is a great machine. This is a fantastic, maybe even perfect machine for that. It's a big, and you need the room for it, but it's a big printer, and you can get away with printing some pretty large stuff on there, depending on how you orient it.
Okay.
So, and tall too. Mike, would you mind putting this one into the camel, please?
Yeah, sure. Let's see here. Which one was that?
CR10
The CR10?
Smart Pro.
CR10 Smart Pro.
Let me get
CR10.
Yeah, Daniel was talking about dipping the like the FDM tires into black paint to fill in the blemishes. And I would argue I use like a flat primer on them when it's tires specifically, and that really, because it just makes all those little highlights on the ridges go away. It really kind of is magic on tires. I just get Rust-Oleum, and it's not matte, it's flat black primer.
Right.
And it makes TPU tires look really good.
Nice. So Camel's up. Looks like the cheapest it's ever been was 400, but for a one-time thing, looks like we're
And this
hanging
is just
around.
Amazon, right?
Yeah, this is just Amazon, third party.
Okay. So no kidding, it's typically just shy of 700 ish. And
yeah, it's dipped to 550 quite a few times. And how much was it on the website?
$329.
Wow, that's $70 less than the lowest price that Amazon has historically had. So
yeah, so no kidding.
Legit pricing.
Just because like CR10s are what we have in our house, and we've always been happy with them. For FDM, like this has got my my vote for a good machine to kind of get going. As far as a Black Friday deal goes, this is a pretty sweet deal right here. And I think it's like just for a couple more hours. It's like being a punk. Yeah, 12 hours and change. If you want to get a CR10 Smart Pro 3D for $330.
Wow.
And it's a big boy. You can print some pretty awesome stuff. So cool.
Yeah.
All right. Who else do we want to look at?
Bamboo.
Yeah, we gotta look at Bamboo.
Oh, the Bamboo. Yeah. So do they? I don't know if they have a site. Who makes the Bamboo?
No, they have their own site.
They do.
They actually have their own store.
Yeah, I keep misspelling it too because it's not bamboo like the plant.
Yeah, you don't spell it like the plant, even though that's what it's based off. It's just BAMBU.
Yeah. So I was looking. I think I need to close this again and open again. So I was looking at the Bamboo stuff, and it seems like they're not really on sale, but their filament is.
No, you have to click on the Black Friday sale up at the top. Yeah, up at the top of the page.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, see, you can get an A1 Mini from $199. Yeah, that's the Black Friday page.
Is that's not what you have? What's the one you have that you still have to?
I got the A1.
Okay.
But there's an A1 Mini that you can get, which is
I'm looking at it, and that looks sketchy as hell to me.
What? The A1 Mini?
The A1 Mini.
Yeah. I don't know. I got the A1, which is the larger one, but apparently it's all the technology that they use on the A1. It's just a smaller build size, and then that really funky looking connectivity to the pad. But it looks like the Z-axis and the head and everything else is the same.
Okay. So this so the Bamboos over I think like the last year have really kind of taken at least our community by storm by having going together really easy and doing really fantastic prints and multicolor. The trade off is that they're expensive.
Right.
But they're a right out of the box type of printer. Not you don't have to do the leveling. It'll do auto leveling for you. Yep.
It's got an integrated camera.
Camera.
Some sort of a, to use the term loosely, some sort of AI monitoring, so it knows if your print's gone bad. It's pretty. It's got lots of bells and whistles above your run of the mill. And to see them at this cost, it's really getting. I mean, it's there's a nice set of features.
Yeah.
I mean, there is some sketchy stuff where, like, apparently everything you print has to go through their application, I think.
So it's like the slicer is like a
Yes.
Yeah, it's proprietary
proprietary.
slicer.
Thank you.
Yep. Steve says he's picked up the P1S combo. He's pretty happy. I picked up the X1C actually last Christmas time.
Okay.
And I gotta say, it's just an awesome printer. Like, you're still gonna get every now and again a mess up or two, a fail or two or something. But a lot of times it'll tell you before you even get started that this isn't that, like, that base layer, that bottom layer is usually indicative if it's going to mess up, and it'll send you a message like, yeah, this layer isn't good.
Oh, wow.
What's the build plate like? What's going on with the build plate on these? Is it kind of like standard
The
build
one
plate?
that I got's the same as the Ender, which is like 240 by 240.
Okay. I guess I'm a little because this really just isn't my thing. I'm a little surprised they don't have more stuff.
I get you. These have been their machines. Like, this is.
So they're like the top model, the X1C that you've got, Artwann. It's been like they haven't made a new one in over a year.
Right. Because I've been kind of reading up that they're developing one that's even better than this.
Oh, really?
Right. Well, I mean, that's what they do, right? They're gonna, like, whatever they come out with next, it's gonna be a one-up. But it sounds like they're not dicking around with little chintzy things. They're like, whatever they're gonna step up to is gonna be a big step, not a little teeny tiny step.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not just cranking out like little half steps or anything. Because I think really the P1S was their half step down.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, I mean, I guess, it comes down to budget. If you're getting a first printer, you're just starting. It sounds like this is a great machine to start with if you're serious and you're going to kind of keep going. And I say that because of the price, right? Like, if you want to dabble and you're, maybe you're going to print something and then it's going to sit in your closet for 2 years, then, this is probably not the machine to get.
Yeah, but from a friend of mine, he bought one of these for his sister. He's very heavy into 3D printing. His sister is not, but she is loving it. So I think one of the other things to look at this one is if you're willing to throw some money into it for ease of use, I think it's worth it too.
So that's, to me, that's the pro and the con. Okay, because if this is your first printer, then you don't really get too much into dialing in a printer on your own, so you don't get that knowledge and that experience.
Yep.
Because this thing, for the most part, you set it up and you don't have to do any of that. And so, yeah, if you're like starting out and you go, man, 3D printing is a cinch. I bought this this A1 or this P1S, and yeah, I'm just going, and that makes it fun. But then there's a knowledge component that you don't have.
True.
And you probably never get.
Yeah. But then there's some people that, if they just want to do it for fun, don't need that.
Right. Yeah. So to me, that's a pro and a con. Like,
that's the best way to put it.
Yeah. Let's say you somehow get another printer, like what is it? The big one we were just talking about.
The CR10.
CR10. Let's say you wanted to go big because you want to do bigger prints. And obviously Bamboo doesn't have anything that allows you to do anything really big. Well, you go to that CR10, you might have a problem because you don't have any of the knowledge on setting things up properly.
Yeah.
I think it's the same concept of, honestly, a person's first car should be the suckiest, crappiest car they can get.
Yeah.
Because you're going to learn.
Still,
And
there's plenty of people who, if you get a printer, and I can't really speak for the Bamboos or anything else, but if you get a printer, your first print is probably going to fail. Your second print is probably going to fail worse. Your third print may also fail, but then you get one. If you're someone who's going to not get through that initial hump, maybe starting with something like this that's kind of made to just work out of the box, that's a plus as well.
right, like I said, it makes it fun because it's
Yeah.
it's literally like once you kind of get that print started, if it doesn't give you an error message like the first layer is not good, it's printing. It's definitely going to finish that print, and that makes it fun. That it's like it's as close to automatic as you can get right now.
Yeah. I'll also say the Bamboo is fast as hell.
Oh, I've heard that too. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just the only thing I've printed on mine on my A1 was the just their version of Benchy, and I mean it flew. I think they printed a Benchy in like under 10 minutes.
Yeah.
What's the Benchy? Is it
a little tugboat?
So yeah,
oh,
it's
it
like
is the tugboat. Okay.
Yeah, the little tugboat you get on the file.
Yep.
Well, you said their version of it, so I didn't know.
Yeah, they didn't call it Benchy. Usually it's Benchy because it's used as a benchmark.
Yeah.
So that everyone's doing the same file. But for some reason, theirs had a slightly different name. So it's still a tugboat and it still does the same test. But I think they optimized it for the printer.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So while we're talking about this, it looked like they're selling it as three different things, right? There's the X1C, which is just the printer. There's the X1C combo, which is the printer and
the AMS.
The AMS.
Right. So if you got just the printer, where's the filament go?
There's that back. There on the back. There's a
orb.
Yeah, an orb that it goes through. So it has the one on the printer. It's kind of like direct drive because you can do TPU through that. You cannot do TPU through the AMS, obviously, because it has a bunch of different ports and plastic that it has to go through, basically. Okay. So you do your direct drive is in the back of the machine, and you can do your TPU through that. The other thing that you need to know about that combo, period, is it has pretty much five chutes for filament, but you can only print the 4 out of the AMS. You can't print so if you got your 4 colors,
it's one or the other.
Yeah, it's one or the other.
Okay.
But what you can also do if you got the money to burn, you can keep adding AMSs. So
really,
if you wanted to do
stack
16 colors, yeah.
Whoa.
You can just buy another AMS and keep hooking them up.
No shit.
Okay.
Yes.
So can you see this? It's the X1C Pro Engineering bundle. So
no, we're still seeing the printer sale.
No, I've been clicking on stuff. Oh man, this is not convenient.
Yeah, now I think you're on mine. There we go.
Yeah,
there we go. Yep.
Yeah, I have to close the one and then go. It doesn't matter. So yeah, so $1,000 for the X1C, $1,200 for the X1C with one AMS,
right,
and then $13 for X1C AMS and whatever this stuff is.
The extras, yeah.
And I'm looking at it and I don't understand what I'm looking at. So whether it just comes with some resin and some bits of plastic that do something.
Right. And it'll probably include the smaller nozzle, the
Like a 0.2 mil.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So, and it, like, this is kind of how I got it. I got this combo basically, and I think the Black Friday sale gives you at least the AMS and the printer at $1,000 now.
This sale,
Yeah.
it's 1,200.
No, on the Black Friday page that you were on, it was the
Oh.
AMS and the printer for $9.99.
So sneaky. Okay, hold on. Oh,
or it just says from $9.99, but it's showing the AMS.
because that's how I got to this.
Yeah,
from
so,
okay.
so that would just be
Okay.
for the printer. They did the same with the A1. The
Yeah.
299 shows the AMS Lite, but that you have to buy as an additional,
as a separate piece. Okay. No, I was going to say if it was $1,000 for the combo, jump on it.
Yeah.
So I guess is their filament proprietary?
So they sell their own filament, but I don't. From my understanding, is it's not proprietary. You can use anyone's filament.
Right.
It's just that
All
the
it does-
machine may not be dialed in.
Right. All it does, well, right, as far as being dialed in, it's probably perfectly dialed in. But the other thing is that the AMS recognizes it right away. Where, like, if you have some of the other filaments that you buy online, they're on the slicer. You have to like select that it's this type of filament, and then you can put the color, and then it'll be on your AMS, or it'll be there and recognize it. So it won't recognize other filaments automatically like it does the bamboo filament.
Okay.
Yeah, the way they do it is the spool has an RFID on it, so it knows it by spool. Now, what's interesting with the filament bulk sale is this is the first place I've ever seen that sells where you can buy filament with or without the spool. And you save a significant amount if you buy it without the spool. I just don't know how you get it back on the spool, unless the spool is a two-piece part. That
so there's a file that you get basically, and you can print a spool.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
But then, how do you put the roll onto the spool?
On it. Right.
Yeah, because they sell it as a refill. My guess is that the official spool, is probably a two-piece thing that you can twist and break into pieces, and then you put the new filament on it, and then you put the spool back together.
Mm-hmm.
I assume that's the way that it works. But
it's got to be tight, or it'll just spin when it pulls it, right?
Yeah.
Not that that's the end of the world, I guess, but these are good prices for filament.
Yeah, the prices are not bad. Yeah, but keep in mind that 13 is without a spool.
Yeah.
It gets to like $17.99 with the spool, which is still not bad pricing.
Still good, yeah.
And they've got a bunch of colors, right?
Yeah, they have a ton of colors. And what was really nice is with the A1, they actually sent me, with the package of the A1, and I'm sure all the bamboos, comes with a swatch set of every color that they sell. So if you want to know what their color looks like, you pull out your swatch set and you find the chit that is that color, and it's got the number on it.
Yep. One I do like, I don't know if the A1 comes with it, but the X1C has two different like plates that it'll come with. There's a cold plate, and then there's a textured plate.
Okay.
Oh.
And you can they bend, so as far as taking them off, you just and your prints just pop off. It's really, like I said, a lot of the conveniences that you would want are there.
Cool. So looking though, they don't have. It doesn't look like they have their own TPU or PLA plus.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Oh no, TPU. Here we go.
Oh, there we go. All right.
All right, so they do have TPU. I misspoke. It's nice to see it in colors other than just black too.
Yeah, that is cool. Yeah, the P1 and X1C are basically the same printers. Less camera on the P1S, the no lidar, and the stainless nozzle for half the price. So, yeah, if you're not trying to go all out, that P1S is basically the X1 with just a couple less things.
Okay.
Cool. So hey, we've been going about an hour and a half. We've covered the stuff I know I wanted to make sure we covered. So if you're watching and you have any specific question, throw it into the chat and we'll see if we can answer it. Historically, this is when everything goes quiet, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah. One thing I can say about the A1, I've only printed the one thing on it, but it is actually the first 3D printer that I have ever encountered that poops. So
That is true. So all of them do that.
It does a lot of automated nozzle cleaning.
Yes.
Okay.
And basically it creates these little berries of filament, and then it's got an automatic scraper. But I don't know if they fall into, if you can set up a specific box for them to fall
You
into.
can.
Or,
Yes.
okay. But yeah, you end up with all these little poops.
Just like it'll be just like printing. It'll detect that the nozzle's getting some stuff, and it'll come over here and take a shit, and then come back and keep printing.
No, it's generally at the beginning when it's
Okay.
When it needs to clean out the nozzle, or if you're like have the A1S, when you need to do a color change, then it's going to poop out. It's going to clean that nozzle out and poop out all that color, and then put the new color in. So you'll get a lot of that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. I know the CR10 we have, before it'll do a print, it'll do like a line around the edge of the build plate.
Yeah.
And kind of make sure I mean, right then, like if nothing's coming out, like
then
all
stop it. Yeah.
Okay. That's cool.
I
want to go print stuff now.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, yes, I feel the same way now. With like the bamboo stuff, you kind of just have to experience it. Like when it's kind of one of those things, it's like, oh, I got printers, I know what I'm doing. I don't really see the big draw. You don't see it until you use it. It's kind of like, wow, okay, that's different.
Yep.
I even like the fact that I can start a print on my X1C from my phone and you can watch it.
Nice.
So it's just crazy. It's literally everything you kind of hope for at this point. I mean, obviously people just want to say tea Earl Grey hot, and all of a sudden you have but
I hate that I know exactly what you were just saying. So we kind of this running joke. There's people that when they have no knowledge of 3D printing whatsoever, and the kind of what's in their mind is that it's the replicator from Star Trek, and they can walk up to the machine and just say, "Print me a custom G.I. Joe helmet," and boop 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 boop, out it pops. And that is just so far from how things work. So that's what Artwann just referenced.
That would be insane. If I live to see something even remotely close to that, that'll be crazy.
Yep.
Yeah. So Mikey, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Not you, Mikey with a Y. So Kukovic, who we mentioned earlier in the show, he's going to be on with his brother John coming up not too long from now to talk about custom figures. But he had asked a question in the chat about because he's new to it. Yep, there he is. Yeah, did we kind of answer the question, kind of the difference between the two?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. So he's asking now, is there specific things that he needs to look for when buying resin itself? And
Yeah.
that's a
So
good
if
question.
yeah, so the kind of the two main things is you're gonna have a pretty solid resin. Like if you're doing an action figure, you're gonna want it to be in like a harder resin, just like the accessories should be in a harder resin. But if you're doing like a secondary, like a vest that's oh, like a vest that's gonna get stretched over something, like I have like a little vest here. This is a TPU like resin called F69. So for me, that's kind of the two things. I use a thing called uh, I use F69 and TH72, and those are kind of my two things. That's his dad. I thought you guys were brothers. Anywho, that's weird. He's here, but like frozen.
Oh,
Okay. Um. Yeah. Like so, and this is something we sort of haven't mentioned in a while. So if we're doing vehicles, one thing that some vehicles have is a canopy, and it's a translucent material. I have not seen anyone do a truly working translucent print on an FDM machine. I've never seen it. um Dude, I didn't realize you were father and son. No offense to you, your dad looks fantastic. Anywho, uh yeah, but you can pull off a good clear translucent print with resin. It'll come out of the machine looking gorgeous in glass because it's soaked in its own clear resin. And as soon as you wash it, it'll get fuzzy. And what you do is you end up sanding it with super fine grit and then spraying it with some type of like clear gloss. Or some people like to use, it used to be called Future Floor Finish. Now it's like Pledge something. But there's a way to clean it up and get it back to translucent. So if you want to be doing a canopy of some type at some point, resin's going to be the way to go. Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on that, Mike?
yeah. I don't think it's possible to do clear in FDM.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, they sell it. They will sell you
Oh yeah, but
PLA
it's
that's
always
clear.
yeah. It's not clear. It's translucent-ish. But yeah, it's and I don't think there's even a way to clean it. I mean, Sean Joe might have come up with a way to do it because I've seen some of his canopies that are fantastic, but I don't know if he's doing resin or not.
Yeah. And
Um,
the big one for me is I did some trouble bubbles a couple years ago, and I was able to get ultimately some really good results. And again, this was 3-4 years ago. So like I
so
suspect if I played
that was
around
resin,
with some,
right?
say again,
Was it resin or FDM?
resin.
Yeah.
But I haven't really fooled with a lot of resins, recently, and technology really has kind of moved along.
Okay.
The last stuff I got, I wish I had the bottle. It was really kind of boasting that it was truly clear and created glass-like stuff. And I printed with it, and though it was true that it was really quite clear, that final piece, just because of the nature of how resin printing works, where it's light based, right? UV light coming
Yeah.
up through an LCD screen through the FEP to the resin. When that resin is dark and opaque, you don't get a lot of bleed of that light. But when that light is completely crystal clear, or the resin's clear like that, each time you do another layer, it's going to continue to cure in kind of all directions. So as the print kind of builds up, there was a lot of grow. And so I
Okay.
had where it was most obvious was the supports. All my little fingers of supports kind of just fused into one uh just kind of nasty mess. So
Okay.
it required a lot of cleanup, and it was still fairly brittle. A lot of the clear resins have the brittle nature that the early resins I used to have. So I haven't found like a really magical, great solution to clear resins yet. But if you want like a nice, not just translucent where light's getting through, but something you can see through it, resin's the way to go. But know that it's going to require some extra work on the back end. Yeah, I can't believe Artwann crashed out on us. He was trying to come back, and yeah, I don't know. Weird.
Huh.
I'm killing time because I don't want to sign off without him, but I think we might be up against the wall on that one. So we'll just pull this up again. December 1st, Mikey and his dad will be on. We're going to talk custom figures, and I'm going to skip that one real quick. And then December 8th, David from Craft and Conquer is going to come on. He's got a bamboo, and so he was kind of singing the praises of that when I was talking to him. And he's doing vehicles. He's doing, I really want to have him on and have him talk about the Dino Rider stuff because it was. I think no one was expecting it, and he executed it so well that it kind of just blew some minds.
Oh, that's awesome! And you said he was doing that on top of like the Jurassic Park dinosaurs.
Yeah, which are readily available,
well,
and a lot of times you can get them
nice too. Yeah, those are good toys.
Yep. And then I believe the following weekend, the 15th, we'll be doing the live stream kind of Fusion 360 demo, and we'll be doing a piece part something for the Project Scorpion DPV. If you have any questions about that, feel free to go to the G.I. Joe 3D printing group, and then pinned at the top there'll be a link. Mike's created its own separate kind of Facebook thing just so that it's not taking up too much space in the main group. So the Scorpion DPV it's essentially I'm kind of stealing Mike Thunder here, but it's a crowdsourced 1/18th vehicle. Take it away, Mike. This is kind of I'm sorry.
So basically, the concept on the Scorpion, and I've got my model here of what I've done on it so far. It's basically a 3 3/4 vehicle that we're designing, but the concept for the group is that it's very modular, right? So I'm working on the design itself, and this is based off of a real world vehicle. The design, I'm designing it and trying to think through it as if it's modular. Like you might look at the seats and say, oh, I hate these seats. I want it to look different. Well, the thing is, if we standardize on the mate to the vehicle, and we standardize on and we provide information on the basic size of it, then anybody could change it and make it and tailor it to however they want. Same with the engine, same with the tires, even same with the way that the tires are connected. There's going to be weapon systems. The vehicle itself has a front-facing weapon here, a front-facing weapon here, a rear-facing weapon. So it's when I saw this design, I was going to make one myself, and then I was like, wait a second, this thing can be broken down into so many pieces that this would be a great project that we can compartmentalize so that lots of different people can be working on lots of different parts. But at the end of the day, they're all interchangeable, almost like a set of Legos. And you just go and you customize exactly what you want out of it. So it's still going. It's still moving along. If anybody on the team is, or if anybody on the chat wants part of it, like Mark mentioned, it's a separate group called Scorpion DPV. There's a link to it at the 3D group. Everybody is invited. I just made it a private group to try to keep the bots out. But just join that, and we're trying to move along and make some progress on it. But I think as far as the vehicle goes, the base vehicle is pretty far along. So it'll just be a matter of finishing it and then customizing it. And then that's when the variations start.
Yep. All right. Sorry, Artwann. I don't know if you're watching or not, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to call it a day. So, hey, thanks everybody for coming out. I hope we answered, questions you might have had. I don't think anyone popped anything else in.
Yeah, I don't see.
No.
I don't know. Did you answer the question about the Warlord vest?
Was it a question?
Oh no. Well, there's a question mark, but I think he's just saying F69 is what the Warlord kit vest is made out of.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, the Slaughter custom kit we did. Yeah, F69 is what that vest was made. Oh, we made it.
Oh, Artwann back. Oh, there he is.
You made it back. We were literally signing off. Awesome. I'm glad you made it back.
Thanks.
Yeah. Hey, yeah. So with F69, since we're just sort of talked about it real quick, when it's cold, it's going to be a little more rigid. You hit it with like a hair dryer for a couple seconds. It'll loosen up and get kind of soft again. So, yeah. But that's it. Thanks everybody. And yeah, like if this helped you and you go get a printer, please let us know. Like that's kind of awesome.
Indeed.
Yep. Or if you have any, if you come across something that you like and you've got questions about it, go ahead and just post it to the group. We'll try to answer it. We know it's,
also if you're getting a printer that we haven't talked about or things like that, let us know how it works, because we're always down to hear about that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. All right, guys. We'll see you guys next week. Have a good one.
All right. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving.